Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad and this is a SuperCoach Pro. Today's video we are doing the round 22 AFL SuperCoach review. So we scored massive this week, 2640. Overall rank for the round was 12th. And we move into 1342 as an overall rank. This will be the second year in a row that we finished top 1%. And yeah, we're overtaking some rivals. And when I mean rivals, I mean it in a nice way, obviously, like JD and George and Spills and whatnot. I'm pretty sure I've overtaken these guys by now. There's only one guy, I think, Ben from Insider, that's in front of me of the few channels I do watch every now and then. But yeah, it scored massive this week, and to go 12th overall is probably one of my best. I mean, last year I got 17th overall 1 week. So I've been amongst it. I think I'm 40 points short, so here's my score, 640, and the highest was 714. I'm actually a lot more off it than I thought. So what's that, 74 points off. Can't complain. I'd sort of rather be 74 points off than 2, because I think that'd be more annoying because someone got scaled down or something. So yeah, fair and square to old mate Jack Goff, or whatever your name is there. I probably butchered that, my bad. But wow, yeah, that's a fantastic score. So yeah, anyway, 12th for the week is bloody amazing. I've never gotten that far, and hopefully you can make the top 1K with 1 round to go. So look, there is a lot to go through. I'll try and make it as quick as I can, but when you're on a high, you just want to absorb it and soak it up. Like, Tigers won, so we're in the finals, baby. Like, oh man, such a good weekend when things go your way. I don't even really want to talk about the players. They finally did something, pulled their finger out. Dawson, 145. He copped a massive injury. A hit between him and Zeeble, and he managed to get back up and still score well. So I thought that was going to hinder his scoring. It took the wind out of his sail, and he kept running all day, intercepting and doing Dawson things. So yeah, really good pick there. 118 for Sis as well. Did what I thought he'd do. I did recommend him as potentially a captain option. Intercepted. They played him in weird positions, Sam Mitchell. I don't know if it was in the midfield or something like that. So that was strange. Hopefully that experiment is done, because we want him in the back line for the last round. Doc went 121, so this is the week where everything just goes right. May is the pod I bought in, and he's the pod that actually worked this week. So he's got a 3 and 5 round average of 97 and 98, which isn't great. I can't remember which player I traded out for a D6 potential. We might have a look in the final round review next week on my trades and where I went wrong and where I went right. I can already think of a few bad ones, but I think we've traded overall pretty well, and Jaden Short 108 was decent. I didn't trade him, obviously. You'll see my trade in a second. Crisps 74, and yeah, bench is what it is, so it's nice to have someone playing. I think he kicked 2 goals, so, no one I can actually whoop there, because Giants are the second game this week. VC to Laird, 97. He had a really slow start. My pod pick too. Can't really complain. He scored so decent up until now, and yeah, just that first quarter he was on like 10, 12 points or something like that, and then the last half he went bang. So disappointing, but he's been such a great pick this year. And probably start him again next year, to be honest. Took 125, almost on his season average, so happy with that too. Clayton Oliver was captain. I just couldn't see anyone more reliable in that midfield. Neil, don't know what happened to Neil. He gets tagged and he just doesn't like a tag. So to prove himself as one of the elite midfielders, he's got to really shake a tag, because he is very acceptable to those tags. And yeah, Clary, just amazing as a captain. So, only really Dawson or May would have been a better pick, but are you really going to pick those guys this late in the season? Probably not. Mills 118, he got a lot of cheap ball everywhere. Blakey looks to line him up, Lloyd looks to line him up, so finally did something decent for my side. I hope he goes 200 next week just to make him worth the pick. Cripps 117, so this is the funny one. I don't know how he got off. I mean, I was saying to go Walsh and Parrish, and they both scored really bad. So that was weird. That would have killed my ranking if Cripps had not got off. And yeah, the pod we brought in this week, which shot me up in the ranks, was Wines, and that was for Taranto because Cripps got off. So you do a Thursday or Friday video, you don't expect Cripps to get off, and so you're planning to go sideways with him. Taranto doesn't get up, so I was like, well, if he's going to another club, did I really even play him next week? It'd be a dead rubber match for the Giants. So does he even play with the concussion? And if he signs somewhere else, they might not even want to play him. So I was like, you know what, let's take a punt and chuck Wines in the midfield. He played Essendon today, and he was like the highest scoring. He was on 77 at half time, so he did what he was supposed to do. He finished hard. He had like 31 touches, and he was just everywhere. He actually didn't butcher a ball as much as I had seen him butchered before. It was actually lowering his eyes. So I think the best pick in that midfield to pick was Dan Houston for DPP. He scored 120 something. Or I could have gone Josh Kelly. But Wines had a better fixture. Wines had Essendon and Adelaide. Adelaide looked terrible. And it was the last game. So if one of my players went down, like these DPP guys, I would have brought in Houston, and then, because it's the last game around, I would have been able to see every match, which I did, and I could have put Houston here and Shorter Crisp or whoever's injured on bench. I thought about bringing in Houston this week just so I can bench Crisp next week, but I just wanted to go someone who's going to go large, and I had a gut feeling that Wines was going to go massive, and he did. So good pick, and I had to go up in the ranks, so I had to find myself a pod. He had no right to go as big as he did. He's in 5% of sides. Probably one of his highest scoring games. So it's his second highest scoring game, and I happened to bring him in the week he goes nuts. So plays Adelaide, and I think he likes Adelaide. 118, 103, not so here, 70. But look, if he goes 120 plus, it's massive for the last 2 weeks. I'm really happy about that pod pick. And there was no point updating a video on Friday to say this is what I'm going to do, because I actually didn't know what I was going to do until probably half an hour before the bounce. I was swapping between Houston and Wines for that flexibility for next week. But yeah, Brosius kicked 2 snags. So worst case scenario, someone gets rested, he's on. Whatever, 140 was big enough this week to cover a rested player and bring on a rookie score mathematically. So anyway, that's a little bit more complex than it should have been. McRae 114, yeah, you'll take that. He's at a good price next year, so something we could look at. But out of that midfield, it's really going to be a struggle. I'll probably find value next year. I don't think I did enough value this year, so we can go on some lessons learnt. But tonight, it's not the night for it. Owens 57. Carroll played VFL, was pretty good actually. So I'm not sure if they're going to bring him in, but he had 22 touches, I think, and scored like 96 or 98 dream team. So hope he doesn't play, because I've really been liking him as a loop. If not, I'll just use Tickle as a loop. If they don't, they won't. They'll just leave Finlayson being that number 1 ruck. So anyway, and yeah, Darcy went massive, 155. I loopholed English's score. If he went below 80, he was going to field Cameron. That's 12 points I could have made up there, and there's another 14 points I could have made up there. So that's 24 points I could have made, but still wouldn't have caught first sort of week. I don't know if I did the math. Maybe if I captained Darcy as well instead of Oliver, I'd be pretty close. I can't really think right now. Just blown away how good it was anyway. So I had it gone a couple of weeks ago instead of English, instead of worrying about this DPP crap. I probably would have been high in the rank too. So I just had a bad feeling that maybe Gawn gets rested this week in round 23. So it'd be interesting to see if he is, because that's the only reason I bought in English, because I thought Dogs have something to play for. They're not going to rest English. Steph Martin was horrible this week, scored 29 SuperCoach points. So hopefully English scores a bit better against Hawthorn this week, and just after that concussion, I don't think I'll bring a player back from concussion, because they just never look the same. We saw it with Ridley last year, and just I don't know what it is. I've never had a concussion before, so see how we go. midfield's stacked. We've got Will Brodie and Cameron on the bench. Canelio 116. I go on about him all the time. He's just been a fantastic pick. Hence why I've got so much depth, because he was a keeper. And same with Brodie, their depth because they're a keeper. So Parker 112, he was everywhere too, winning clearances, tackles were great. Dunkley had a big first half and just dropped off the last half. So that was weird. I was actually expecting him to hit 115. Heaney 109, he's very much like Bont. He'll get scored for breathing, but that's why I've got him in my side. So to rub salt in the wounds, Canelio's scoring's been insane. I know a few people had to get rid of him when he missed the other week, but I held because I had depth. So I think, again, next year I'll be trying to find cheap depth and not sideways too many players. I haven't sideways too many players this year, hence why I've got good depth, I'd say. And Heaney, keeping Heaney was great too, because a lot of people flicked him off. He had a really bad patch around here somewhere. But he's rewarded people who's held him since that anyway. So he's gone 112, 104, 106, 104, 121, 109. His 5-rounder is 108 in the forward line. Pretty decent. People running Dylan Moore and Bonds, and I don't have Bonds, and he's been killing me in the last couple of weeks. He's slowed down. Stewart's slowed down, which is good for me. I think he's still scored about 98. Sinclair's the only one that's killing me, and Gorn's the other one that's killing me. So I know the players next year that I kind of want to start, so they're not an anti-pod. So I've got some big moves next year, and I reckon we're going to make top 500 next year. I'm pretty confident. Anyway, Butters also a good hold too. He was missing for 4 weeks. I probably shouldn't have held him, but I've kind of been repaid with the faith. He's 106, 120, 121, 106, and he's a bit of a pod, 17% of sides. Probably wondering why I fielded Hawkins over Brodie. Hawkins played Gold Coast in the wet, and Brodie's minutes were down, so I thought Hawkins would play well against Gold Coast on Collins, and he's been in really good form, and he was my Butters pick while Butters was injured, and he's a pod too, so I've just been fielding pods, and he's gone alright. He's gone 198, 141, 93, 94, 111, so I'm not sure if I fielded him for that 141. I think I might have missed that. But regardless, his 3 and 5 round averages, 99 and 107 in the forward line, perfect. You'll take that every day of the week. And Brodie and Darcy, sort of wasting scores on the bench, but that's probably a good thing this week, because we might get some curveballs. We could do some trades, what I've done so far in the season, but I think I'll just leave it for the season review. What I'm doing this week, to be honest, I don't know. I was just at the gym, checked my phone, seen that the overall rankings had changed. I thought I need to go home, do this potty, get it smashed out. I've done 6 intros and finally nailed the 7th. So super coaches that have channels, you understand how that feels. It's so frustrating when you can't get an intro right. Anyway, so we're hoping Carroll doesn't get names this week, because that would ruin my loop. And knowing my luck, he'll be named, because Carlton need midfielders. I'm not sure if he's a mid as such. I can't remember, to be honest with you. But maybe I can loophole Brodie, or maybe even someone like a Dunks. We'll have a look. I probably can't, because that's late. That's 110. I can actually loophole Dunks, but who would you loop him hole for? Not Cripps, because Cripps got no Hewitt. So I'm going to have some loopholing issues, and it could be someone like Brodie in case he cops a tag. But I actually don't know what to do, to be honest with you, this week. Loophole-wise, it sort of stuffs you out having too many players, because you can loophole even Ruckman. So Port's here. Does Darcy have a bad game against Proust? Probably not. But I could always do something like this, and then if Darcy has a stinker, go Cameron, because Darcy can have a stinker, so you could do that, but leaves me pretty thin going forward if there's a way out. I'd be nervous because I wouldn't have any cover. So I might think about this later instead of just muck around and you guys going, oh my god, just finish your video. VC and C going into the week. I probably want a VC Laird and give it another crack. He plays Adelaide. I don't even have to do that. Let's have a quick look at the scoring history between these players because you guys are probably thinking, what do we do this week? Laird's been pretty consistent. Oh, man. Took against North Melbourne. Surely you do that. Oh, no. I don't like the Brisbane and Melbourne game. Collingwood, no. I think I'm just going to VC Miller into Took. Sorry, Miller into Laird. And I'll leave it at that, really. Miller plays North. North have used a tagger in the past. I can't remember who it was. But that's what I think we're doing. There's so much more I want to talk about, but I just think it's going to be saved for the last video. And yeah, we'll see how we go for the week. Look, sorry if I've butchered anyone's trade plans, such as who's that Essendon player? Redmond. He's sticked it up the last couple of weeks. It is very hard. Like, it's hard to know in the comments what your team is actually set out like. Because if I knew your whole team, then I would actually go for your weakest point, and I'd be able to understand where to move your lines. Because sometimes we move players that don't need moving out. We might trade someone like Lachie Neale this week, but you really need to fix up Crisp. So it all depends on your cover, on your bench, and if you've got any DPP flexibility, etc. So if you got one trade left for the week, if you got more than 2 trades left for the week, you're an idiot. But that's okay. Look, if you haven't been following me and you see me keep popping up, just put a like, put a subscribe. I don't really shout that out there, but I think I deserve some credibility because I'm actually doing better than some of the YouTubers you guys do follow, and all hats off to them. They've got the credits in the bank, and I've done this 2 seasons in a row and been pretty good ranking up of them as well. So a bit of recognition would be nice, and hopefully I can team up and do some other things. So see how we go. Bit of a long ranted one, but when you're winning, you just want to be on the cam. So hopefully your team played really well, made your final, made your grand final, in fact, and hopefully your footy team actually made finals as well. And I'll catch you on the next vid. Have a good night.